We saw yesterday beautiful, liberating scenes of Palestinian youth, Palestinian teenagers who have been in prison since they were children, finally be released from Israel's dungeons into the arms of their mothers and loved ones. We have seen the liberating scenes of Palestinian women who have been in prison since they were 16 years old, who haven't seen their family for over 8 years, come out thanks to the resistance in Palestine, who has been demanding a hostage prisoner swap from the beginning. And this just goes to show that this could have been done from the very beginning, but Israel instead waited. Israel instead purposely murdered 20,000 Palestinians, 8,000 of them children, only to end up meeting the demands of the resistance that they have set out from the very beginning. We know that this is not the end. We cannot let this die down. This is just the beginning of the prisoner swap, of the hostages release. And people who want to ask about hostages, yes, all hostages should be released. That includes the 2.3 million Palestinians in Gaza who have been held hostage. Who have been held hostage for the last 17 years. The thousands and thousands of Palestinian prisoners who are held hostage for years and years. All of the Palestinian prisoners who have been released in this exchange, all of them are either children or women. Most of them are young children, are still young boys. Only 33 adult women were released. Everyone else is a child. And this just goes to show what they have been fighting for from the beginning. Why does Israel have Palestinian children in prison? Why do Palestinians get 20 years for throwing stones? Why are they tried in a military court that has a 99.9% conviction rate? It is because the very foundation of the Zionist state of Israel is built upon the ethnic cleansing, the genocide of the Palestinian people, the destruction of our land, the kidnapping of our children, and the attempt to crush our spirit and to crush our resistance. More important for us now than ever to make our support for Palestine and for Gaza loud and clear every single day. We got support from the streets. We've got support from the whole world. We've got support from the whole world.
It's got to go, hey, hey!
for Israel, a so-called humanitarian pause, even a so-called ceasefire, does not mean that they will stop killing Palestinians, does not mean that they will stop kidnapping and imprisoning our children, does not mean that they will stop raiding Jenin and Nablus. It does not mean that they will stop the origins of the violence, which is the occupation, which is the colonization of Palestinian land. Despite the so-called truce agreement, the World Food Program reports that over 2 million Gazans, which is the entire population of the Gaza Strip, require food assistance. They are still not letting an adequate amount of trucks of food go into Gaza. So understand that whether Israel is bombing Palestinian children, if they're not bombing them, then they're shooting at them. If they're not shooting them, then they're starving them. So there's always a genocide. There is always an ongoing genocide. But the Palestinian resistance has made it loud and clear that the truce is a clear admission of Israel's setback, forced due to its losses in the field and the stalling of its ground forces. And while Israel targets our children, while Israel starves Palestinians, the resistance has taken out 335 Israeli military vehicles since the beginning of the ground invasion. It is because these tanks are meant to kill more Palestinians, are meant to continue to colonize